You thought fucking your uncle was bad.
What about your brother?
What's up, guys? It's Kat. How you doing today? You ready to learn? Let's get into it. What an opener. So I know one video that I saw did really well, which I'm really scared about because y'all are some freaky frogs, is the video I did breaking down the Habsburg family wreath. Incest being a prominent thing within the nobility of an empire was not something that George R.R. Martin just pulled out of his ass, alright? We're gonna leave Spain a little bit, we're gonna go to a different continent, we're gonna go to Egypt. Now, we love Egypt. I want to go to Egypt so bad. I love the mummy. Full of history, rich in culture, amazing, right? But there was a time. This era was called the Ptolemaic era, under the Ptolemaic dynasty. And we're gonna get into who these people are because they're not Egyptian, they're Greek. So in 332 BCE, who is running rampant all around the world? Alexander the Great, king of Macedonia, and he had a big empire under his belt, okay? Big. The empire spanned from Greece to northwestern India. 16 years of undefeated battle, defeating the Persian army empire at that. At this point in 332 BCE, Egypt was under Persian rule and had been for the last 200 years. They did have a break period where they had independence, but that, thank you. So because of this, unwanted occupation, when Alex pulled up and was like, hey, I'm here to deliver you from evil, per se, they were like, cool. Do what you want to do. He had very little resistance, and when everything was all said and done, they were like, yeah, you can be pharaoh, that's cool. Go to the Oracle of Amun in the Siwa Oasis, and there, the Oracle said, yeah, you're the son of Amun, the son of Amun, and that just strengthened his legitimacy to be pharaoh. Why is the son of Amun the king of Macedonia? But alas, I'm asking too many questions I don't have the answer to, so let me shut up. So after all the fanfare, and after he becomes pharaoh, he moves some shit around. Founded Alexandria, which obviously is named after himself, and is actually my sister's middle name. Very fun. But when he did this, Alexandria became not only the capital of Ptolemaic Egypt, but it's also where the Library of Alexandria was built. Who burned it down? Queen Avatar. That's a what if. I'm putting that in the next what if video. Absolutely. And in having these two things together, that city, Alexandria, became one of the wealthiest cities in the entire Mediterranean. However, in 323 BCE, when he was 32 years old, he did end up dying. Now, to this day, 2026, what's today's date? July 21st, 2026. We do not know how he died, for real. I really like the theory that he was buried alive. I don't know why, but that seems... But then the usual problem happens when somebody in power dies. A succession war. He had no adult heir, and like I said, this empire, Greece to northwestern India, that's like, what, 2 million square miles of land? And no heir. And so with that being said, all of his generals, all of his homeboys, some lovers, they decided to break out into a melee and fight over all the territories because they want to split it up. That makes no sense, but they want to split it up. And these wars became known as the War of the Diadochi. Once again, using my degree to its fullest extent, that C and that H and that I, I'm gonna say it's a key, which basically means the wars of the successors. That's all it means. So, who took Egypt? Ptolemy the First Sauter. His name was Ptolemy, right? He was one of Alex's most trusted generals and genuinely one of his best friends. After Alexander died, he was appointed satrap, which basically means a governor of Alexandria, right? He did what he was supposed to do and everything was fine. Then around 305 BCE, he said, you know what? Yeah, I am king. And he founded the Ptolemaic dynasty right then, right there, and ruled for another 40 years until he died. And within this time frame of 4 decades, he turned Egypt into one of the most wealthiest places out here. I'm talking one of the richest kingdoms in the entire Hellenistic world. So because this dynasty ruled for literally over 200 years, I'm not going through every single marriage. You think I'm insane? I like to sleep. I have work tomorrow. It's actually 10:30 on a Tuesday. He had 2 wives, right? His first wife was the woman named Eurydice. She was the daughter of one of Alexander's other favorite generals named Antipater. By marrying her, he connected his family with another powerful family and already had a powerful chain of people ruling over a country. Like, there was nothing else he really needed to do. But he got greedy. Enter Berenice the First. Basically Bernice. She was a lady-in-waiting and companion to Eurydice, so right here, right now, we already have a Henry VIII ambulance situation. But as time progressed and they started doing what they do out there in Egypt, she became his second wife, but not only his second wife, his favorite. And it was because of her being the favorite, everything kind of just technically, and I guess you can say it by law, her sons would only inherit the throne if the first wife's sons left, died, did whatever they needed to do to the point where they would not be on the throne anymore. Bernice's son became Ptolemy II. Completely shift the royal line over. Antipater is somewhere mad. And you know what's so crazy? Like the Habsburgs, you would think the incest did not start in the beginning, but tell me the fuck why. Ptolemy and Berenice the First, they get together, they have a son, Ptolemy II. Cool. Ptolemy II grows up and says, "Damn, lil' sis, you got that dang on you. Call the police, call the police." Why was that something I just said? Ptolemy II Philadelphus and arsenic. They are full-blooded siblings. I'm talking somebody saw the other one being carried by their mama and said, "Aw, what a cute brother. What a cute future husband. Cute future wife.
I hate you, nigga, let's die."
Even in Greece, they got down in Greece. Make no mistake, they got down in Greece. But they wasn't doing this. They really wasn't doing this. Full brother and sister. Hermano and hermana. Get the fuck out of my face. And of course, the obvious question is always, why the fuck are you doing that? Calm down. You telling me ain't nobody in the entire country of Egypt you want? You want your sister? We need another great flood. While there is no concrete reason as to why he did this, historians do point to different ones. Let's start with the biggest one, the elephant in the room. We are in Egypt, you are Greek. Therefore, they are foreigners. Therefore, everyone's not gonna accept them blindly because they're not Egyptian. They wanted to resemble the earlier Egyptian pharaohs, the ones that were truly the rulers of their people, and they were in fact their people. And for some reason, that meant fucking on your sister. Right. Sibling marriage reinforced the idea that Ptolemy was meant to be here, and this union has a divine blessing. I just feel like it's a lot. Maybe I'm being ignorant, but I just feel like it's a lot. Another reason why they think they did this was because they wanted to keep the power within the family. If they keep it in the family, then that means, in their minds, it lessens the possibility of, like, a traitor, of a usurper. No. I feel like personally that actually raises it because everybody got a birthright. Technically, everybody is somebody's son, uncle, brother, cousin, father, mama, like what? You're meeting somebody new, brand new baby. Isn't he so cute? Yeah. This is your cousin and your uncle and also your brother and also your dog.
Police! Police! Help! Police!
And there was no weed to smoke to counter this. Like, the final reason why they think they did this is because they wanted to have some sort of divine imagery. Like I said before, they wanted to resemble what they thought was the height of power and absolute show. We are the pharaohs, just like the early Egyptian pharaohs. They was fucking on their siblings too, so why can't we do it? A multitude of reasons why you can't and should not. And when people were still kind of like, yeah, but you're Greek, they said, but listen. What about Isis and Osiris? What about Isis and Osiris? They're gods. Who gives a fuck? Isis and Osiris are in fact siblings, and exactly why we have Horus. But still, these people have the heads of animals. And so after this, he got a nickname. Remember earlier when I said Ptolemy II Philadelphus? Philadelphus is not in his name. Philadelphus means sibling loving, which really makes me look at Philadelphia kind of crazy. What's going on in Philadelphia? What is the genetic coefficient of everybody that lives in Philadelphia? We have this marriage where it's full siblings. Right off the bat, what the fuck is going on? You know what I'm saying? But it's not even just that. They married brother and sister, uncle and niece, half-brother, half-sister. I guess they said, well, it's only half, but the half makes a whole, so what are we doing? The most famous ones are indeed Ptolemy and Arsinoe, but also Cleopatra VII and Ptolemy XIII, but also Cleopatra VII and Ptolemy XIV. They did do cousins, mainly first cousins. That was alright, but I guess that just wasn't close enough. Unlike the Habsburg, because the Habsburg never did siblings. That was too barbaric for them. They only did uncles and nieces. Yeah, they're a little bit better by like this much. What makes them so drastically different and what makes the outcome so drastically different is the fact that like when the incest first started, it was just immediately, I saw you be born. Literally, we share the same mother, we share the same father, we're basically the same person. And you know, I'm sitting here once again saying it out loud and I wonder, is this where they got Cersei and Jaime from? I sit and I ponder, I think in my room. I'll do a little stupid on Miss Girl, but I feel like everybody knows this, or if they don't know it by now, why don't you know this by now? Cleopatra the 7th Philopator, the one who I said married not only Ptolemy the 13th, but also the 14th. So her father was Ptolemy the 12th. There's legitimately, like, this much stuff known about this lady's mom. Like, we don't... Really? However, when her father died, he said, listen, you're older than your brother, the other Ptolemy. You're older than your brother, so I want you to rule alongside him as co-rulers and then also get married.
Is this nigga serious?
However, in what land is it for real, okay, with no contest, that a woman can rule, even co. That only worked out for William and Mary of Orange. All of the advisors there immediately turned Ptolemy against Cleopatra to out her from what was literally her birthright. And after she fled Egypt, an entire civil war happened. But then who pulls up in a Mustang? Caesar. Why? Because he was already dealing with his own BS with the triumvirate. Crassus acting a fool back home, Pompey running around the Mediterranean like a bad kid in Meyer, like it's just too much. And so they wound up in Egypt because Pompey pulled up and was like, you know, I'm Pompey Magnus. Gnaeus Pompeius Magnus. It's literally in your best interest to help me defeat Caesar because then I can help you defeat your bitch ass sister. Like, what? Here's the thing though, Pompey was an old man. Caesar was young, had more recent hits. So when Caesar pulled up after Pompey, hey, you know, I'm in the middle of a war right now. I'm dealing with Pompey Magnus and Crassus, and there's a lot going on, but if you help me defeat them, I'll help you defeat your sister. He was like, you promise to help me defeat my sister? Yeah, of course. Brought out Pompey's head on a platter and said,
my end of the bargain is fulfilled. Now it's your turn.
That? We literally, 2 seconds ago, I pulled up and you didn't know who I was. I said what I needed. You said, bet I can do it if you do this. I said, okay, cool. You didn't tell me you killed. Have I been tricked? Like, Jesus. But while he was there, apparently, allegedly, you know, Cleopatra snuck herself inside the kingdom while wrapped in a rug, brought to Caesar's room. It was unwrapped. She said, what's good? And he supported her. Then they became lovers. Then Mark Antony was in charge of Rome. I don't know what's going on. And so he had to go back. But amidst all this, when Caesar came to help Cleopatra, obviously, like I said, they became lovers. Henceforth, therefore, more so, they survived, they won, they continued on living, right? When they sacked the city, Ptolemy tried to run, and he drowned in the Nile. But yes, Caesar goes home, life's great, but Cleopatra's pregnant. Who is she pregnant with? The baby Caesarion. What a blend. What a just, like, oh, poetry. After Caesar got Swiss cheese in 44 BC, she was like, god damn, because she still has a kid by this man, right? So she decided to marry another brother. There's 2. This time being Ptolemy the 14th. However, Mary secure power or move the man out the way. He's inconvenient. A couple years after they got married, Ptolemy the 14th died unexpectedly. We don't know how. However, it's widely speculated that she married him, then killed him in order to say, well, yeah, you know, my husband was the pharaoh. he's dead, and I have a son, Caesarion, so he's gonna be future king, and I'm gonna be regent. But for real, there's no proof of that. It's all gossip. But honestly, if she did, queen. Unfortunately, though, Caesarion did become pharaoh, but then he died. Now, if you recall, the reason why they went in so deep and so heavy in the beginning, you know, with Ptolemy II, with Arsinoe, like all that, it was because they wanted to emulate the early Egyptian families who wed brother and sister. Now, there is a multitude of reasons, many movies in fact, that express why you need to leave your family alone. There is even a Criminal Minds episode about why. But I'm gonna show you, and we're gonna talk about the biggest reason why, and this is ridiculous, and why, like, when I was reading about this, I was just like, what do you mean you wanted to emulate the early Egyptians? They were crazy. No shade, no disrespect. Leave your sister alone. Let's take it back 1300 years. The 18th dynasty, ethnically Egyptian, the people ruled by the people. We talking about King Tut. Yeah, Egyptian researchers were doing bone testing on it, right? And they figured out based on this stuff that his parents highly likely, were full genetic blood siblings, just like Ptolemy and Arsinoe. There was a lot of issues, like, with his body. And while they can't pinpoint exactly like, oh yeah, this is inbreeding, baby, it is heavily implied, because what in the randomized sim? Glitched out 2K character. Based on the bones, there is one thing they are 110% certain on. That man had a clubfoot. This is the real Lars clubfoot right here. A clubfoot basically means take your foot and like twist that hole. Twist it inward. Within his tomb when they opened it, which, Lord, okay. Over 100 walking sticks that had very clearly been used and worn out. It was not ceremonial, it was not for vibes, it was not an accessory. He used them canes. Meaning, he had that clubfoot and couldn't walk straight. So like Lars clubfoot, he had to have a little walking stick. When looking at CT scans of his feet and seeing like clear bone disease type shit, I wouldn't say it's widely agreed, but it's often like, yeah, this is probably that, yeah, this is probably that. Kohler's disease. Meaning, oh my god, it fucks with the blood supply that goes to the bones in your feet. Henceforth, therefore, more. So you can't walk. Can't walk, can't run, can't jump, can't even do a tumbling pass. Wow, what a life. Can't even stand up for long periods of time. So yeah, that cane was put to use. Also, in comparing the bones, it was also clear that one of his legs was actually weaker than the other. I think, if you walk in side to side, because your foot doing the cha-cha slide without you even knowing it, that twisted up leg, cool, weak as fuck. Also, before he died, right, when looking also at his bones, his femur was broken. What is going on? What could you possibly have been doing when you can't even walk straight to begin with, but you fuck up your femur? Now, we don't know if it happened while he was alive or happened when he was being mummified, but either way, if it happened when he was alive, that could have got infected real easily. You know, malaria is a thing. Malaria, they think he had, and if that got infected, that would have sped up to death real quick. Real quick. One thing I want to bring up, not because I'm sitting here like, yes, this is tea, this is true, 100%, but because I had to unlearn this shit. So when I first read about King Tut, the one thing that really stuck out to me was not the fact that his foot was like this. It was the fact that it said he had a cleft palate. I didn't know what that was. I looked it up and I was like, oh, word, okay. A cleft palate, yiddies, womanly hips, and a genetic hormone disorder. So he was like feminine, like the estrogen was estrogening more than it should, so it's just like, okay. And then I had to relearn some shit, only to come to find out that modern scientists have been like,
yeah, y'all are tweaking out, that's not, no.
Especially with the cleft lip thing, they really don't even mention that shit when talking about him for real, and the yiddies, and the hips, it's just like, okay, y'all figured this out based on, what? Artistic interpretations of the way his mummy was wrapped. If he was thickums, he was thickums. That don't mean, hey queen, that's not what that means. Like, I'm gonna show you the first photo I saw of this man. And not gonna lie, when I hear his name, I do immediately think of this photo, mainly because it's the first photo I saw of this man. So like, you see how it looks, right? You see how it looks? So apparently when this was made, they literally blended male and female, like, anatomy pictures together to make this. So it's not even, this is AI fanfiction recreation. Leave your family alone. That's all I have for you guys today. Incest is really, really scary. If you're peer pressured, call the police, call an authority, call the National Guard. Don't call me, I don't know where you are, but like, call somebody. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.